All the confetti from last week's Super Bowl parade in Philadelphia is just about cleaned up by now, but the work to make football a safer sport, that never stops.
Yeah, Kenny Beck joins us in studio tonight to tell us more about a fascinating new study on helmets and some of the men behind it, Kenny.
Well, Devontae Christine, a former two-sport athlete from Wake Forest, says he has found a way to significantly reduce concussions in football players, and it's possible we could see this technology right here in the Piedmont Triad very soon. John Zaglinski is excited to be back at his home field in Winston-Salem. He played football and baseball for the Deacs in the 70s and is in the Wake Forest Sports Hall of Fame. For the last 7 years, though, his work is centered around a piece of equipment that's changed a lot since his era, the football helmet.
I love the game. It does so many life lessons, teaches you a lot of things about life. And we want to make kids safer. You know, participation is going down.
Ziggy, as his friends call him, is the CEO of Safer Sports, a company based about 30 miles west of Philadelphia. He says his helmet cover can dramatically reduce concussions and subconcussive head injuries.
When two hard objects hit, the energy is transferred to the brain. Okay? The inside of the helmets are great. That's great for skull fractures. Okay? But when the objects hit, the energy transfer. Our product captures and dissipates force, deflects force. Okay, and it's actually spring-loaded, so it actually moves a little bit on contact, which also dissipates force.
One of Ziggy's teammates at Wake, Dr. Tom Ferring, is an orthopedic surgeon in Charlotte. He says at first he was skeptical when his old friend told him he had great lab data on his new football helmet covers.
Send me the data. It can't be 70% better than a helmet alone. And I run it by one of my PhD scientists at my institution, and they go, this is the real deal. And so he goes, okay, it's great. Now we can start making everybody wear it. I go, well, let's slow down here a little bit. You don't have on-field clinical data yet.
So, last football season, they offered their helmet covers up to hundreds of high school players and compared the results to the 2023 season.
The group that wore the shells reduced concussions by 48%. The group that did not wear the shells went up 34%. That's a difference of about 82%. Pretty significant. So we're excited about that.
You used the word skeptic several times.
Absolutely.
Are you convinced at this point?
Absolutely. I mean, what other test could we do? I've got a grandson who's just starting to play football. And I want him to have this on his helmet.
The Safer team just released a new YouTube ad with testimonials from Virginia Tech players who used them in practice and in games.
You can tell it's a little bit softer. When you get hit, it's just like kind of bounces off instead of reverberates through your helmet.
So a lot of the energy doesn't get to the brain. It just sort of skips off the side of it. And that's proven in the directions of testing too, that the deflection is probably its biggest advantage.
I did suffer my number of concussions when I was in the pros. So my safety, I was concerned about it. But most players have a gladiator mentality. They don't really think about, oh, I'm gonna get hurt. They think they're Superman. They think they can withstand anything.
Of course, football players do get hurt. Last season, there were 120 concussions among the 866 varsity and JV football players in Winston-Salem Forsyth County schools. That's an average of 1 for every 7 players. John Sullivan is district athletic director for WSFCS. He had never heard of Safer helmet covers prior to this story, but says as long as they have the proper certifications and are legal, he's not opposed to individual players or teams using them.
There's so much money going into studies these days, which is a good thing, trying to make the game safer. So anything that we can explore to make our student athletes healthier and safer, we're certainly open to it.
He adds the average high school football helmet costs $450 to $500 per player. These helmet covers would add another $125 to $165 to that amount.
It's going to get a little interesting for some schools, but if it's something they wanted to do, we would certainly explore that as an option.
Dr. Chris Miles, an MD, and Dr. Jillian Urban, a PhD, are two of the leading voices on sports concussion biomechanics, research, and treatment in the country. Both say they'd like to see more published data and peer review from Safer.
If there's data that something makes a sport safer, I am 100% supportive of that.
You just don't think these Safer helmets are quite there yet?
I don't think we have the medical literature supported data to be able to absolutely recommend that product at this time.
In the lab, we can see reductions in the loads that the head is experiencing, and this is related to a lower a reduced risk of concussion. But as Dr. Miles said, there's really limited research to show that there's been a meaningful reduction in the actual number of concussions.
I know Ziggy is a legend around these parts, and I'm fully supportive of what they're doing in terms of trying to develop a product to make it safer.
Dr. Miles says Wake Forest gave its own football players the option to wear either a Guardian cap or one of Ziggy's safer covers last football season. Only about a half dozen players tried them, and no player wore them all season. The Demon Deacons will be offered those options again this coming season. Dr. Urban told me there are other ways to improve head impact safety aside from just helmet add-ons. This includes proper tackling technique, proper helmet fit, and limited hitting in practice. John Sullivan said his best advice to parents as a major county athletic director is talk to your child's football coach, talk to the AD, see what's available, and educate yourself. We have a link to the Safer Sports website in this story on our website, WXII12.com.